Greetings Internet, it's Tommy the Keyblade Master, and today I'm going to review the one game that a lot of people who own Wii U's were waiting for a long time. It's time to be able to have the Mario Brothers beat the crap out of each other while racing in high def. It's time to talk about Mario Kart 8. Was it worth the wait? Is it worth picking up a Wii U? Nintendo is offering a free game if you purchase this. Before sometime in July, I do believe. So let's take a look to see if this game is worthy of the Mario Kart. Does it go as high as Mario Kart 64 DS, or is it as low as the Game Boy Advance Super Circuit? For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Mario Kart series, let me tell you, it's basically a over-the-top racing game, except rather than just racing skills, you're allowed to acquire items to knock each other around the track, give each other an edge. And the game's balanced. If you're first place, you're going to get mostly small defensive weapons. Meanwhile, the people in the last place will get weapons that will cause a lot of carnage so they can catch up. It's a really fun way of racing. It also has a battle mode, which I'll get into this one because it has the worst battle mode in the series. It's the one real big complaint I have in the game is they totally screwed up the battle. Well, let's talk about the graphics of this game. Tell me, guys, what you think of this gem. Does it look like it's a pretty good looking game? Well, fooled ya. This is actually the Nintendo Wii version. This is the Wii U 1080p high definition version, and now I don't think I managed to record this in 1080p. As you can still see, it looks gorgeous. The original Wii version still stands up pretty good. And now that you got Nintendo making a Mario Kart in full high def, it's just one of the best looking games I've seen. And the fact that Nintendo does go kind of cartoony in their games does also help them age well. I can see this game looking really great 10 years from now. The frame rate's pretty good. There's very little graphical problems that I've seen. So all in all, this is a great looking game. Also the new zero gravity parts. Now, while at first this looks like it's ripping off F-Zero, this isn't Nintendo's intention. They were thinking more like putting elements of Mario Galaxy into the game, as there are plenty of areas in the game where there's zero gravity areas that let you ride on the side of walls to collect coins and other power-ups. Now for the music in the game. It's pretty good. It has some good music for the new tracks as well as some awesome remixes for the original. I liked what they did with the Rainbow Road soundtrack for the classic N64 version. The voices are pretty good. They're just sound clips from your Mario actors. Nothing really big is said. Just, laughs, grunts, and a few one-liners. It makes it pretty entertaining, though. If I have one question about the soundtrack is, why does my Mii sound like Pidge from Voltron's drunk brother? Does he have dinotherms or infracells on that card? I wonder. I would like to apologize for anyone under the age of 25 who I might have confused with the jokes about a very dated show. Check out Voltron on Hulu Plus, and make sure you get the cheesy 80s show and not the terrible Nickelodeon version. Speaking of another Nickelodeon show, the Ninja Turtles parodies of Voltron are pretty much on the mark. Let's go, Voltron Force! Now on to the gameplay of Mario Kart 8. And I've said this before about other Mario Kart games. What makes them fun isn't that they try to follow real racers, but rather you get to beat the heck out of each other using things like shells and banana peels and boomerangs. It's pretty fun. And Mario Kart 8's weapons are pretty good. You'll get things like this boomerang here, which acts kind of like a green shell, except it can come right back to you and smack enemies if you're lucky enough. There was also the horn, which has much to do about nothing. Yes, it knocks anybody around you out, but that's really nothing a triple shell feature won't do. It can destroy blue spike shells, but you have to be lucky enough to have it in the first place. Personally, I wish Nintendo would take out the spiked shells. It really doesn't do anything but troll the person in first. Beating the GP races will unlock new characters, including a few kooky ones like the Koopa Kids, but the weirdest one so far has to be Super Gold Peach. So is Nintendo all out of time to put in more characters if they just dressed up another version of Peach? I mean, there's other Mario characters I could think of putting in, like Professor Egad from the Luigi's Mansion series, and Mario and Luigi series on top of that, plus many other kooky characters they've met in RPGs or side characters in some of the 3D platformers. To just dress up Peach kinda seems like a waste. On top of that, she kinda looks like Dot Matrix out of Mel Brooks' Spaceballs. I wonder if she even has a virginal arm. I apologize again for making a joke on a dated movie. If you're under 25 and don't understand that reference, check out Mel Brooks' Spaceballs on the Netflix app. On top of the characters, you also have a wide variety of carts and bikes, along with wheels and gliders to choose from. All of these will affect your speed, acceleration, weight, and so on. So there's many ways you can customize your character to race or battle. The courses in this game are pretty good. You get some few good new ones that use the gravity well, like racing through a town full of toads where you race upon the walls like this, or even racing above Peach's castle here. Of course, it's the classic courses that are dear to me, and we got a bunch of them. Well, there's only one each from the Game Boy Advance and Super Nintendo, and I loved what Nintendo did to update them, and was disappointed we didn't see more updates. I was happy to see that we pretty much have 4 N64 tracks, and they did a great job upgrading them. Again, these are upgrades. Things have been changed, like this GameCube track now has this Oasis, so you can do the underwater kart. Small example of what's been changed in the N64 course would be just look what the update looks like compared to the original. The update looks pretty good, while the original one seen here is a little bit flat. Although the update just lets you pass by the castle. One of the things I liked about the original N64 Royal Raceway was you were able to cruise around in front of the Mario 64 castle. The only course I could say that I didn't like the remix so well is the N64 version, and it's not what they did to the course. This is their new version of the N64 Rainbow Road. They've managed to make it a little harder by taking out the rails, but it's still not over the top difficult. It's got a great remix music too, and a lot of fun extra cool things added to the track. But they screwed up because it's now only one lap. It's kind of like they've made me want even more and get cut off way too soon. And it makes the whole thing anticlimactic compared to the original. One last thing to talk about before I leave the courses, and that is the zero gravity function. I already talked that it's kind of like Mario Galaxy, where they want you to run around walls to kind of enlarge the courses that way. But there's another thing zero gravity does. When you hit an opponent in the regular game, you kind of slow down. If you're a small person, you really get knocked aside. However, in zero gravity, bumping into somebody will give you a speed boost. It's not game changing, but it does force you to rethink your strategy at certain parts. I should also mention something big if you're into competitive play. You can now only hold one item at a time, although you seem to drop items a lot less when you get hit, so it kind of balances it out. Still, it kind of stinks that if you hold an item back defensively, you can't stock another one on top of it to be prepared to counter. After everything I've talked about, I haven't even hit the online part, which is probably the best online a Nintendo game has enjoyed so far. We have regional and worldwide competition modes, We also have tournaments, and that also leads to some pretty interesting things. Tournaments seem to be things you can create for a certain time and compete with friends. It seems like there's some pretty big game companies and websites having their own little tournament right now, as you can see from the list. It seems like it's a fun idea. There's also the regular competition. It works like Mario Kart 7. You get people around the world, you vote for what course you want, and then the computer selects from what everybody voted. The majority doesn't necessarily get the say, but if people vote one course, the majority is likely to get picked more. It's an interesting way of doing things. You also have CRT for when you win. You'll gain CRT if you get a good place. You'll lose if you get a bad place. So like I said, it's a pretty addictive game online. There's also the YouTube uploader called Mario Kart TV. Now before you get too excited, you can't upload a whole race to it. What you upload is these little clips, and you do have an editor that you can select what type of action you want with these clips and upload it. It's not like too much, but it does kind of help you show the best action. You'll need a Google account if you want to upload them, and it does take several minutes to upload a video, so during that time you won't be able to play or anything. So don't do it if you got friends waiting in line to play. If there is one thing that does stink about this game, it's the battle mode. Rather than being in arenas, you race on regular tracks. Well, they tried to make up with it by being on some more layered tracks and starting you guys off in different directions. Oftentimes you find yourself driving on many miles of track that are just empty because people know how to hide or avoid. It's kind of boring. How boring, you ask? Well, let's ask Mario. Yeah, I thought so. What can I say about Mario Kart? It does almost everything perfectly. It's got some pretty decent online. It's got some great courses. I love the remixes, and you'll get a free game with it if you purchase it before July. Now, I do have some nitpicks when it comes to the Rainbow Road for the N64 not being quite up to par, with it being one lap, and the battle mode's not the greatest, but I'll stick to the Super Nintendo and N64 when I want to battle. I give Mario Kart 8 a 5 out of 5. It's definitely worth $60, and like I said, free game download, so don't miss your chance to pick this up. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Also check out the links in my video right here to see my review on Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart Super Circuit. Thanks for watching.